Dust curled in the heat as Clara Boone dragged the wagon's broken wheel to the crowded street. Sweat slipped down her temple, soaking into the faded brim of her hat. The wheel screeched against the boards, drawing stares. A dog barked. A baby cried. The saloon doors slapped open and shut with drunken laughter spilling into the noon blaze. She kept moving. The sound came sharp, cutting through the din. Boots grinding gravel, the hush of a coat hem dragging. A man stepped into her path. Not young, not old. His face was shadowed by the tilt of a straw hat. His beard black streaked with white. He held nothing in his hands, yet something heavy pressed from him, a silence that made the town square falter. Clara stopped, fingers tight around the wagon's splintered handle. Her chest rose once, twice. The stranger's eyes lifted to hers, brown but sunburned at the edges. They did not waver. From his coat, he pulled a folded sheet, creased, stained with the brown of long fingers and time. He held it out without a word. The paper shook in the wind. Clara did not take it. She searched his face, the slow pull of his jaw, the scar trailing thin down his cheek. A shadow fell as a cloud crossed above. Someone muttered near the well, "What's that about?" Another voice, "Looks like a deed." The man's hand never trembled. He pushed the paper closer. His other hand lifted, slow, and tapped 2 fingers against his chest, then pointed at her. A gift or a burden. Her hand lifted before she knew it. Fingers brushed against his, callous meeting calloused. The paper slid into her palm. For the first time, he spoke. His voice rasped, low, almost broken. "Yours." The word caught the air like iron striking flint. Then he turned, coat swinging, boots crunching, and walked into Market's crush. The crowd opened for him, then closed again. He was gone. Clara's breath came fast. She unfolded the paper. Ink scrawled across it, her name, written clear, and beneath, lines marking boundaries of land she'd never seen. A deed, stamped, sealed, witnessed. The world tilted. Voices rose around her, gossip snapping like dry twigs. Why her? She didn't pay a dime. Maybe curse land. Ain't no man gives dirt away for free. Clara folded the paper tight against her chest. The wagon's wheel leaned heavy in her grip. She turned from their eyes, pushing into the dust of the road. The air thickened with heat. The smell of horse sweat, of whiskey, of frying lard from the tavern clung. She passed the church where the bell hung still, then out beyond where the road split into barren hills. Every step rattled the deed in her hand. The land waited. The prairie stretched wide, yellow and brown under sky that burned white. Wind hissed through sage and dead grass. Vultures circled slow, high above. Clara's boots crunched gravel until she stopped on a rise. Below, the land, her land, a flat expanse cut by a dry gulch, the boards of a fallen corral jutting like ribs from sand. A low mesquite tree leaned crooked, half dead, its shadow thin as a whip. Nothing else. No stream, no house, no fence. Just emptiness. Her throat tightened. She clenched the deed. The silence here was different. Thicker, pressing into her ears, her chest. Only the faint creak of her wagon behind. The soft groan of leather straps. She walked forward. Dust puffed at her steps. The corral board shifted in the wind. Her hand brushed the wood, dry, brittle, ready to splinter. Her heart thudded. Why give this? Why her? A crow screamed overhead. Clara's eyes cut to the ground. Something shifted, too soft to be rock, too quick to be root. The dirt itself seemed to breathe for an instant, a faint settling as though hollow beneath. Her fingers went cold on the deed. She dropped to one knee, palm pressing flat to the soil, warm from the sun, yet a tremor beneath, faint as a heartbeat. She pulled her hand back. Nothing, only silence again. The wind rose, rattling dry weeds, carrying whispers that might have been her name. Clara stepped backward. The wagon creaked. The deed weighed heavy against her chest. She turned to the horizon. The sun bled low, spreading red across the sky. Shadows grew long, the land stretching into darkness. She gripped the handle of the wagon, dragging it forward. Behind her, the earth gave a sound, soft like a sigh. She did not look back. The shovel bit hard into the clay. Clara's arms trembled as she forced the blade deeper, sweat rolling into her eyes. The dry ground fought her, each strike ringing like iron on stone. Dust filled her throat, bitter and choking. She pressed harder, teeth clenched, until the earth gave with a hollow crack. Her boots sank. The dirt beneath her shifted, caving inward. With a sharp cry, she fell, her body tumbling, with splintering under her weight, down into darkness. Silence. Then the echo of her own ragged breath. She pushed against the ground, palms stinging, the air damp and cool. Above, the hole gaped, sunlight spilling through in a sharp circle. Around her, walls of packed earth, smooth as though carved by hands, not nature. A sound. She froze. Whispers, soft hurried, curling through the dark. Not English. The rhythm was different, flowing, strange. A child's voice hissed, then a firmer voice snapped back. Clara's breath caught. She squinted. From the shadows, eyes glinted, small, wide, reflecting the faint sunbeam. A child's face, dirt-streaked, hair black as coal, peered at her. Another face appeared beside it. Older, a woman's, cheeks sunken, lips pressed in. The whispering ceased. Then movement. A man stepped forward. His shoulders were broad, his frame wiry from labor. His clothes were patched, his skin weathered, and his eyes, dark, sharp, unflinching, met hers. Clara scrambled back, pressing against the earthen wall. Her hand fumbled for the knife at her belt. The man raised both hands slowly, palms open. "No harm," he said, his accent heavy. Each word pulled rough through his throat. The silence between them burned. The woman drew the children behind her, their small bodies trembling. Clara's knife stayed tight in her grip. Her heart pounded. This is my land. The man's gaze shifted, steady, unwavering. Then he nodded once. Ours too. The words cracked the silence like a whip. Clara stared, breath shallow. He stepped aside, and the faint light revealed what lay behind. An underground chamber, carved carefully from the soil. Beds of straw pressed against the wall. Pots stacked, a lantern blackened with soot. A life hidden beneath the dirt. The woman's eyes pleaded. The children stared with hunger, their lips dry, their hands clutched to their stomachs. Clara's grip on the knife loosened. She staggered to her feet. The man spoke again, voice low. "Railroad. We worked. They burn camp. We hide." His words dropped heavy, fragments carrying stories she did not know. Clara's eyes darted to the children, to their hollow cheeks, to the way the woman held them close as though expecting them to be torn away. Her throat ached. She sheathed the knife. The man's shoulders eased the faintest bit, though his eyes did not leave hers. Clara glanced toward the shaft of sunlight above. The wagon stood waiting, the empty corral beyond. Dust drifted into the chamber, floating slow, golden in the beam. A choice pressed down heavier than the earth itself. She drew a sharp breath. You can't stay underground forever. The woman's face tightened, her hands gripping her children tighter. The man's jaw clenched. We have no place. Clara said nothing. The silence roared. Above them, hoofbeats pounded sudden and sharp. Clara flinched, heart leaping. Voices carried faint on the wind, men calling to each other. A dog barked closer, then faded. The man's eyes snapped to her, fierce. If they see us. She raised a hand, cutting him off, breath ragged. She pressed her back to the wall and stared upward at the slice of sky. The sound of hooves faded into distance. Only the hiss of wind remained. She let her head fall against the dirt. The man exhaled slow, long, like he'd been holding his breath for years. Clara pushed from the wall, stepping closer to the beam of light. Her voice was barely above a whisper. If they find you here, they'll kill you. The woman's eyes closed. The man's mouth set in a hard line. Clara's hand went to the deed pressed against her breast. The paper crinkled. Her name inked bold, marking land that was hers, but not hers alone. She looked at the children again. Their eyes were wide, not with fear alone, but with hunger. Her chest burned. Without another word, She turned and reached upward, fingers clawing at the edge of the hole. Dirt crumbled under her nails. She hauled herself into the sun, gasping as the heat slammed down again. Dust rose around her boots. She stood still, staring at the empty land. Silent, barren, endless. Her eyes dropped back to the hole. Shadows moved below, the faint shape of the family waiting, hidden, watching her. The deed weighed like a stone in her chest. She pulled her hat low, turned, and walked toward the wagon. Each step kicked dust into the sinking light, the horizon glowing red. Behind her, the earth whispered, alive with secrets that would not stay buried.